In 2017, leaked pictures of an unidentified Russian aircraft surfaced online. The mystery aircraft was spotted stationed at several runways, and photographs taken between trees showed the indistinguishable silhouette of an unmanned combat aircraft vehicle, or UCAV, similar to Northrop Grumman's X-47B. A few days later, a state-of-the-art Sukhoi Su-57 fighter was photographed with unique markings on its wing, displaying the figure of the mysterious drone alongside an Su-57 with a lightning bolt between the two. Only then did the media realize that Russia was about to launch a stealth drone companion known as the Okhotnik, or Hunter, with never-before-seen capabilities to fight wing-to-wing with the Su-57 as a one-man unit. Following the tremendous success of the unmanned aerial vehicles employed by the United States Armed Forces in the War on Terror, the Russian Ministry of Defense ordered the secret development of a combat UAV in 2012. Although Russia had already employed drones before, the intent was to develop an autonomous fighting vehicle that could directly rival the latest American models. The Sukhoi aircraft manufacturer was explicitly chosen by the Ministry of Defense to come up with the drone's design, with further cooperation from Mikoyan, or MiG. Both companies took direct inspiration from the Mikoyan Scott, a stealth unmanned combat aerial vehicle concept initially developed by MiG in the early 2000s. Using a flying wing configuration, the Scott was designed in the shape of a triangle, with one main wing structure and no tail. It had a length of 33 feet and a wingspan of over 37 feet. The Scott could carry weapons in two ventral bays that were large enough to fit Kh-31 missiles, and was to be powered by a single Kilmov RD-5000B turbofan engine that would allow the drone to reach speeds of up to 497 miles per hour, with a maximum service ceiling of 39,000 feet. A single mock-up of the drone was unveiled in 2007 and managed to attract significant international attention. However, the program never moved beyond the mock-up stage and was cancelled in 2012 due to a lack of funding. Even so, the Scott's ideas found new life with Russia's new attempt at a drone, a project dubbed the Sukhoi S-70 Okhotnik, or Hunter. The first mock-up of the Hunter was delivered for ground tests in 2014, and the first prototype was revealed in 2017. Like the Scott, the Hunter is based on a flying wing configuration. The drone has a wingspan of 65 feet, a length of 45 feet, and a height of 9 feet. And although it has not been fully revealed by the Ministry of Defense, its approximate weight is over 49,000 pounds. The Hunter uses composite materials and stealth coatings to reduce its radar signature and make it low observable during flight, thanks to its state-of-the-art electronic countermeasures. Mimicking the Scott's design, the Hunter also has two internal weapons bays to store up to 4,400 pounds of guided and unguided munitions. A single Saturn AL-31F or AL-41F engine powers it up and allows it to reach speeds of up to 620 miles per hour, with a service ceiling of 59,000 feet and an approximate combat range of over 2,500 miles. Although the Russian Ministry of Defense has shared little information about the specific integration of this sixth-generation unmanned aerial vehicle with the Su-57, sources have reported that the Hunter has drastically increased the fighter's radar and target designation ranges when used against hostile enemies. In November of 2018, the Okhotnik drone performed a series of initial taxiing, speeding, and stopping tests on a runway in the Novosibirsk Aircraft Production Association plant, or NAPO, where the Hunter achieved a top speed of 125 miles per hour. A few months later, an Su-57 prototype was spotted wearing the paint scheme with a silhouette of the Okhotnik Hunter on its top, further cementing the electronic connectivity and data-sharing relationship between the two works in progress. After performing other small flight tests in the Napo plant in early 2019, the drone performed its maiden flight on August 3rd of that year. During this feat, the Hunter was successfully aloft for 20 minutes at an altitude of 1,968 feet, making several circles around the Chkalov State Flight Test Center in Akhtubinsk. Only days later, the Russian Defense Ministry released a video of that first flight. In September of 2019, Russian authorities announced the type's first flight alongside the Su-57. According to Russian Defense Ministry reports, the UAV operated autonomously and flew for half an hour, practicing interaction to expand the stealth fighter's radar coverage and detect targets that could be hit with long-range airborne weapons from outside the zone covered by air defense. Russian news agency TASS also reported that the September 27th joint flight was part of the ongoing flight test program for both airframes. In a December 2020 press release from TASS, Sergei Chemezov, head of the state high-tech conglomerate Rostec, told reporters that the drone could also carry quite a powerful armament. After a stagnant period forced by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian military conducted a series of interception flights with the S-70 Okhotnik, including simulated use of air-to-air missiles. These tests evaluated the drone's capability to operate as a fighter interceptor. The simulator flights took place at the Ashluk training ground near the Caspian Sea and included both infrared and radar homing missiles. Until then, flight tests had only focused on the flight performances of the drone, and the 2020 flights were reportedly the first time it was evaluated for combat duties. Final frequency response tests were successfully conducted 2 years later, in May of 2022. The plan was for the Russian Ministry of Defense to begin receiving aerial deliveries of the Okhotnik heavy attack stealth drone in 2025. However, in 2020, the developers received direct orders from President Vladimir Putin to speed up deliveries and finish 80 Hunters by 2024. With Russia's long history of deferring, canceling, and reviving combat aircraft programs, there is a possibility that the plans for the Okhotnik B project will change, and it seems like the Kremlin is still working on developing the exact roles and operations of the S-70 and how it fits with other platforms. However, one thing is unquestionable: its symbiotic relationship with the fifth-generation Su-57 fighter jet pilot. In an interview with a local newspaper, Andrei Yelchinyanov, deputy chairman of the board of the Russian Military Industrial Commission, further reiterated that the drones will be loyal companions and operate under the control of an Su-57. According to Yelchinyanov, quote, "These planes and drones can interact not only with each other, but also in various types of combat formations. Within a very short time frame, there will be a possibility to control several Okhotnik drones from the Su-57 cockpit." In August of 2020, Yuri Slyusar, head of the United Aircraft Corporation, reported to President Putin that the Okhotnik possesses unprecedented capabilities. In the executive's report to the leader, it is written that the device has the best combat range amongst all other Russian drones, in addition to the widest range of weapons and equipment. Furthermore, only 2 other nations, the United States and China, are capable of designing and manufacturing machines of the same caliber. While the specifics are still murky, it seems like Russia's Okhotnik stealth drone, a universal baseline platform to carry advanced air-launched weapons, onboard reconnaissance systems, and several other pieces of equipment, will make its official debut in the upcoming decade. In July of 2021, Russia's United Aircraft Corporation launched a mysterious campaign to tease a secret project that would debut at the MAX 2021 air show in Moscow. After much speculation and the relentless hype surrounding the new reveal, some sources discovered that it was likely some sort of drone or artificial intelligence simply codenamed Checkmate. But it was more than that. The vehicle in question was a Sukhoi 5th-generation stealth fighter called Su-75 Checkmate, also known as the Light Tactical Aircraft, or LTS in Russian. Although not much is known about it, the Checkmate is designed to be the direct competitor of the American F-35 Lightning and the Swedish JAS-39 Gripen, and is expected to fly in 2023 with the latest stealth aircraft innovations. During the first days of July 2021, United Aircraft Corporation, or UAC, released a strange marketing campaign for an unannounced project. The organization that comprises Russia's top aerospace and military firms published a teaser on its social media accounts with a trivial message that said, quote, "Everything is easier than it seems. Something seems to be on the way." The phrase, written in Russian, was accompanied by the hashtag Checkmate, and the clever marketing campaign pointed to a famous 1970s hoax UFO photo by the Swiss ufologist Billy Meyer. The UFO and X-Files connotations that related to the paranormal led the audience to believe that the UAC was about to unveil a new generation aircraft, a drone, or even a spacecraft with artificial intelligence, given the company's past with military and commercial aviation. Then, on July 13th, the Rostec Corporation launched a countdown website and a video for the unannounced project. The footage showed Air Force pilots from Argentina, India, Vietnam, and the United Arab Emirates getting ready for the arrival of what appeared to be an unnamed fighter jet. All these countries share something in common, as they're all existing operators of Russian fighters. As everything fell into place, it all pointed towards the release of a new fighter jet at MAX 2021. MAX in Russian stands for International Aviation and Space Show. It is also Russia's marquee air show and weapons exposition. One of the main objectives of MAX is to showcase Russia's new technologies to the international market to attract the attention of militaries and governments from all over the world. MAX also holds scientific conferences led by Russia's Central Aerohydrodynamic Institute about the latest aviation news. Days before the exhibition began, the new warplane, wrapped under a tarpaulin, was photographed as it was towed to a parking spot across the Zhukovsky airfield near Moscow. Rostec published the pictures with a very suggestive caption that read, quote, "Wanna see me naked?" After weeks of building up hype, the secret aircraft was finally unveiled on the inauguration day by none other than President Vladimir Putin. The ceremony and show were impressive, and the surprise aircraft was the Sukhoi Checkmate, a fifth-generation light tactical fighter. During Checkmate's inaugural show, a Rostec spokesperson gave an overview of the aircraft, accompanied by proper ambient lighting to highlight the airframe. MAX visitors were finally able to look at the Checkmate's mock-up and were fascinated by the airframe and its expected performance and capabilities. The new aircraft was immediately compared to the American F-35, the multi-role stealth fighter employed by the U.S. Air Force. Besides its narrow fuselage, split-angle tails, and wings in the shape of a diamond, the Checkmate appeared to fall into the category of F-35 lookalikes. However, according to the presentation, the Checkmate will not have better performance and firepower than the F-35 and other NATO aircraft, but will be cheaper to produce and buy. The Sukhoi Checkmate is Russia's first state-of-the-art stealth engine fifth-generation fighter, and Rostec began working on this light single-engine aircraft back in 2016 after studying Russian air missions in Syria. According to Mikhail Strelets, Checkmate's chief designer, quote, "An analysis of the use of airstrikes in Syria revealed that the capabilities of heavy twin-engine aircraft systems turned out to be overly excessive for carrying out most tasks." During the Syrian conflict, Russia's most used aircraft was the Su-35, a single-seat, twin-engine, super-maneuverable aircraft that was 21.9 meters long with a wingspan of 14.75 meters. In comparison, the Checkmate stands at 17.5 meters long with a wingspan of 11.8 meters. Although the power plant has not been confirmed, intelligence suggests that it will have a Saturn 30 engine, which is 30% lighter and 20% more effective than current Russian engines. It is also expected to give between 14,500 and 16,000 kilogram force of thrust and a low radar signature. Rostec has specified that the aircraft will have an approximate top speed of 2,200 kilometers per hour and a flying range of up to 2,800 kilometers without external fuel tanks, and will feature a multi-purpose armament suite compatible with a wide range of guided missiles, surface-to-air missiles, anti-ship missiles, unguided rockets, and bombs. Checkmate will also have a combat payload of 7,400 kilograms and provide 5 hardpoints in the internal weapons bay and 6 external pylons. A total of 11 hardpoints will ensure that the Checkmate can counter all sorts of threats at standoff ranges to ensure the pilot's safety. More importantly, they will bolster the Checkmate's capability to engage up to 6 targets simultaneously. In addition, Checkmate was designed using almost the same technical specifications embedded in the Su-57E fighter jet. According to Strelets, quote, "The tendency of harmonizing aircraft inventory is on the rise. Due to a high level of inter-project harmonization, the joint operations of the Su-57, the Checkmate, and unmanned aerial vehicles may form an optimally balanced fleet for various tasks with a minimum operating cost and high combat potential." Furthermore, the Director General of UAC, Yuri Slyusar, said that the Checkmate was primarily designed as a platform for an entire family of aviation systems, while pointing out that they are also planning on developing an unmanned version. Quote, "The unmanned version is not only a tribute to modern tendencies. We are integrating a wide range of capabilities for net-centric operations into the aircraft at the project's early stage. The jet will be capable of sharing information and providing target designation to other air platforms and unmanned aerial vehicles. It appears as though the new jet will control small UAVs and other types of drones that will function as loyal wingmen to assist the pilot during missions. The avionics suite also includes an integral active electronically scanned, or ASEA radar, allowing the Checkmate to track up to 30 targets and engage 6 simultaneously, thanks to an optical electronic targeting system, while the cockpit features the latest multifunctional touchscreens with information about targets, threats, routes, and other systems in a broad panoramic view. Despite Checkmate's vast array of features, it will face tough competition in the international market. Some of its worthy competitors are the American F-35A, the Swedish JAS-39E, the French Rafale, and the Chinese JF-17. However, Checkmate's strong point is its cost. Strelets has explained that, quote, "The developers paid specific attention to maintaining a rational balance between proven technical solutions and breakthrough technologies, as well as between the price tag and capabilities. Thanks to this fact, the Checkmate has a unique combination of flight performance and combat efficiency at an affordable price and a low flight hour cost." The Checkmate's price point will start at $30 million, followed by the F-17 and the JAS-39E, which range from $50 to $60 million. Meanwhile, the US F-35A and the French Rafale prices go up to between $80 and $100 million. If the information that Russia has provided is accurate, the Checkmate will be the real winner when it comes to performance, range, and payload, and deliveries are expected to start by 2023. Amidst the desolate landscape of war-torn Ukraine, in the fall of 2022, a lone Ukrainian soldier cautiously navigated the wreckage-strewn battlefield when he stumbled upon an unexpected enigma. Nestled amidst the debris was a mysterious downed drone. He approached the craft, expecting it to be just another product of the relentless Russian arsenal. However, as he inspected the remnants, an unsettling realization dawned upon him. What seemed like another enemy drone turned out to be something else entirely. An investigation would begin at the military base, and the truth would unveil itself. The telltale markings and design, obscured by battle scars, bore a striking resemblance to none other than an Iranian Shahed 136 drone. What was an Iranian drone doing in the hands of the Russians, and how would this revelation alter the course of the conflict? The Shahed 136, developed by Shahed Aviation Industries, is an Iranian loitering munition crafted for targeting stationary ground threats from a safe distance. While precise details surrounding this Middle Eastern weapon are scant, some aspects, like its distinctive crop delta wing shape, its measurements, approximately 11.4 feet in length and 8.2 feet in width, and a total weight of about 440 pounds, are publicly available. At its core lies a high-explosive fragmentation warhead weighing up to 110 pounds, supposedly surpassing the potency of a standard 155mm artillery shell. One of the drone's most remarkable features is its portability. The entire unit can be mounted on the back of various military trucks, enabling agile deployment. Capable of being launched in groups of up to 5 from a specialized rack, the aircraft takes flight with the aid of rocket propulsion, ascending at a slight upward angle. Upon reaching optimal altitude, the rocket is discarded, and the drone seamlessly transitions to its conventional piston engines, most likely a reverse-engineered German Limbach L550E. Though not entirely confirmed, rumors circulate regarding the drone's extensive range, estimated to span from 600 to an astonishing 1,600 miles. Since its deployment with Iran in the late 2010s, the Shahed 136 reportedly saw action in the 2019 attack on Saudi oil plants at Abqaiq and Kirayas and other minor conflicts. would not be long before this drone would find itself thrust into the heart of one of the most significant urban warfare zones of our time. On September 13, 2022, photographs of the remains of what looked like a Shahed 136 drone, albeit with paint color matching Russian rather than Iranian munitions, and inscribed with the words Garan 2, were published online. Soon, it was publicly known that hundreds of Iranian-designed drones were exported to Russia, where these artifacts were renamed for Russian service. In the months before confirming their use, both United States intelligence sources and Ukrainian officials claimed that Iran had supplied Russia with drones. Still, the Middle Eastern nation repeatedly rejected these claims, maintaining the nation's supposed neutrality in the conflict. Still, later, during an arms show, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Hossein Salami, ominously stated that some of the world's largest powers had purchased some of their military equipment, and his men were in the process of training them to employ the gear. On what was reportedly their first use in the war, on September 13, 2022, according to Rodion Kulihin, the Ukrainian artillery commander of the 92nd Brigade, Shahed 136 drones destroyed up to 4 howitzers and 2 BTRs during the Kharkiv counteroffensive. 10 days later, further use of the drones was recorded in Odessa, where videos of their flyover and subsequent impact were uploaded to social media. Further videos show intensified drone use around other cities like Dnipro, and striking barracks hosting soldiers from the 72nd Mechanized Brigade in Bila Tserkva. Garan 2 attacks continued well through the fall of 2022. With a reported cost of about $20,000, the cost-benefit analysis of using these drones in strikes versus the defending air defense systems employed against them, such as multi-million-dollar SAM systems, is outstanding. Additionally, fallen loitering munitions, taken down after reaching cities, can lead to large-scale collateral damage from falling wreckage. Amid Russia's torrent of drone strikes on southern and eastern parts of Ukraine, the Ukrainian military and UK-based research group Conflict Armament Research conducted a study of an unexploded warhead from an Iranian Shahed 136 drone. The investigation, published in February 2023, revealed that the Russian military's extensively deployed kamikaze drones had undergone significant modifications. As Damian Spleeters, one of the investigators who examined the warhead, stated, quote, "There had been a lot of speculation that perhaps these explosives were very crude, cheap, and simple. But looking at the warhead, it's clear that a lot of thought has been put into ensuring that it can inflict as much damage as possible to infrastructure in a large radius." According to this investigation, the warheads were swiftly modified with layers of small metal particles that scatter across a wide radius upon contact. This composition explains why the fall 2022 assaults on Ukraine's energy infrastructure were remarkably successful. Moreover, the team of researchers highlighted that, in addition to the fragments, up to 18 smaller charges are placed around the warhead's diameter. Upon detonation, these charges melt through armor, creating a 360-degree explosive impact. Examination of crashed and shot-down drones revealed the use of various Western and Chinese components in their construction. Some of its electronics were composed of a Texas-made processor, a Polish-made fuel pump stemming from a UK-based company, and a voltage converter from China. Somehow, Iran managed to bypass sanctions and procure vital components for its drones that are not readily available to the general market. To counter the devastating impact of these modified drones, Ukraine's military strategists swiftly initiated measures to mitigate their destructive potential. In response to the initial attacks, Ukraine and Iran have reduced their diplomatic ties. The U.S. State Department has also accused Iran of violating United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231 by selling drones to Russia, with similar assessments made by France and the United Kingdom. Ukraine, determined to defend against these menacing drones, has invested millions of dollars in developing air defense systems that boast an impressive 85% interception rate against these munitions. Adding to their impressive capabilities, the Garan 2 drones' low profile and speed make them challenging to detect by MiG-29 radar, providing them with a tactical advantage. However, Ukrainian soldiers have reported being able to hear the drones from several miles away, rendering them susceptible to small arms fire. Nonetheless, their use has also raised concerns that drones may also be used to test the effectiveness of defenses before launching more significant missile attacks, exposing potential vulnerabilities. After a brief pause in their deployment, likely due to the depletion of their previous stock, Russia resumed drone strikes with renewed intensity. On February 10, 2023, a fresh drone strike hit critical infrastructure in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city. Against the backdrop of these attacks, the analysis of the modified drone's capabilities came to light. Interestingly, this revelation also coincided with the news that, with Tehran's assistance, Moscow is establishing a factory to produce Garan 2 drones in Russia. The factory is projected to churn out at least 6,000 drones in the coming years, fueled by a reported $1 billion deal between Russia and Iran. Furthermore, the two countries are reportedly collaborating on developing a new engine to enhance the drone's range and speed. While Tehran denied the specific plans for the factory, tensions remain high, with Iran accusing the West of stirring unrest in Ukraine. In May, the White House stated that Russia had received over 400 Iranian-made drones, while Ukrainian military intelligence estimated that Tehran had supplied around 1,000 drones as of March, a sharp increase in arsenal for an already costly and protracted war. Since 2009, the Tupolev Design Bureau has been hard at work with PAK-DA, a Russian-made new-generation strategic bomber. The aircraft will be a large platform, complete with radar-absorbing materials for stealth technology, capable of carrying over 30 tons of nuclear ordnance and flying at subsonic flight speeds. According to the established timeframe, the aircraft will align with the emergence of the United States B-21 stealth bomber, its design counterpart. However, with a lousy record in stealth technology, many believe the upcoming program is just another vanity project for Russia, and question whether the Tupolev PAK-DA prospective aviation complex for long-range aviation could rival the American B-21. It might take another decade to find out, but the evidence points toward a revolutionary concept that might surprise the entire world. That is, if it even exists. The United States has been the industry leader in the development of stealth aircraft programs for decades. Going back to the Cold War era, American warplane manufacturers have continued to push the envelope with the stealthy SR-71, F-117, B-2, F-22, and F-35 aircraft. The next step in such technology is a modern stealth bomber aircraft, a top-secret project still in its development phase. Northrop Grumman's mysterious B-21 Raider, an advanced long-range, heavy-payload intercontinental stealth bomber, is on the verge of making its maiden flight, and is expected to enter service in the mid to late 2020s. Today, 2 more nations have stealth bomber programs in development. While China's stealth aviation development has relied on expensive espionage to complete their first stealth bomber, the H-20, the model remains in prototype mode. Meanwhile, Russia might be closer than initially thought to developing and finishing their first stealthy bomber. The development of Russia's next-generation long-range strategic bomber dates all the way back to the late 1990s, when the nation was still recovering from the crash of the Soviet Union. Still, it wasn't until December of 2007 that the Russian Air Force issued the first series of tactical and technical requirements for a new strategic bomber. On September 3, 2009, the Russian Defense Ministry awarded the legendary Tupolev Design Bureau a 3-year research and development contract for the new long-range bomber. And according to TASS, Russia's leading news agency, the nation has begun construction of its first strategic stealth bomber called Prospective Aviation Complex for Long-Range Aviation, or PAK-DA. The aircraft is expected to be able to hide from even the most state-of-the-art radars. Early reports indicated that the PAK-DA's design would be based on the supersonic Tupolev Tu-160 strategic heavy bomber, first introduced in 1987. However, more updated information on the secretive program, including a televised address from then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, implied that it would be an entirely new design, intended to serve the Russian Air Force as a long-range, low-observable strategic bomber. The PAK-DA's actual combat capabilities and design features won't be fully known until the aircraft enters service. As such, the data can be subject to both intentional propaganda or unintentional misconceptions with translation and other factors. Still, according to the TASS agency, The PAK-DA design concept revolves around the aircraft's ability to fly at stratospheric altitudes of up to 164,000 feet and heavy payload capabilities, and will make use of widely employed radar-absorbing materials to avoid enemy air defenses. It is said that the new bomber might be similar in design to America's B-21 Raider, and according to the government-owned agency, could exceed its counterpart's abilities. Instead of surpassing the speed of sound during missions, the Russian bomber will remain subsonic and will rely on its low observability to evade the enemy. However, reports on payload capabilities of the PAK-DA vary significantly. With a likely crew of 4 people, the bomber is expected to carry up to 30 tons of ordnance compared to the 15 of the B-21. Also, as stated by TASS, quote, "The PAK-DA is expected to deploy KH-102 nuclear-tipped stealthy cruise missiles and a number of newer hypersonic designs, including derivatives of the KH-47M2. This large payload capacity might be why Russian officials have constantly claimed that the new stealth bomber will exceed the capabilities of its American counterpart. The ultimate goal of the upcoming stealth bombers is not only to elude all surveillance radar systems, but also to evade higher-frequency, precise radars. This capability will ensure the platform will not only be difficult or impossible to hit, but also remain entirely undetected for the entirety of the mission. Despite being influenced by an American design, the PAK-DA bomber is said to be limited by Russia's ability to mass-produce stealth aircraft with the extremely tight production requirements that such technology needs. And it is no secret that Russia's stealth technology has been widely considered to be far behind its American and Chinese competition. While the United States programs have prioritized stealth for years, Russian engineers believe that it is only one of many important elements, even at the expense of more conventional goals like speed or maneuverability. As an example, the country's only operational stealth fighter, the Sukhoi Su-57, is the least stealthy 5th-generation aircraft of its type in service today. And conventional wisdom points to Russia's PAK-DA suffering the same fate as its stealth siblings. What's more, according to the aircraft's fiercest critics, the bomber might not even have stealth capabilities, claiming that the bomber will use long-range munitions to carry out missions, all without ever leaving the protective range of Russian air defense systems. To this day, the Russian team claims to have completed a full-size wooden mock-up, as well as full-scale models of several potential cockpit layouts and smaller composite models for wind tunnel testing. According to the 2020 Russian newspaper Izvestia's report, 3 prototypes of the stealth bomber will be ready for preliminary testing by the spring of 2023, followed by government tests 3 years later. With an expected due date of 2027 for the stealth bomber to enter production, and the United States, China, and Russia all planning to field new low-observable bombers, the 2030s look to be the most crowded the skies will have been in decades. Still, Western critics of the PAK-DA project wonder if the platform will ever see the light of day. Due to an ongoing reorganization of the Russian Air Force's current bomber fleet, including the announcement of a stealth fighter and an already standing order of Su-57s, the Russian Defense Ministry will most likely procure only a small number of PAK-DA bombers in the beginning. What's more, upgraded Tu-160 Blackjacks are currently in production, and with a hefty price tag of $270 million each, these long-range supersonic bombers, capable of carrying 88,000 pounds of weaponry and traveling at speeds in excess of Mach 2, might become the priority in the years to come. With a long-documented and troubled history with stealth platforms and funding issues, Russia's claims that the forthcoming PAK-DA will roll into production by the end of the decade are highly questionable, but only time will tell if they will surprise the aviation world or if the project will become another in a long line of underwhelming endeavors.